All right. So I'm going to go back over editing our Nori Thai restaurant piece into a 30-second commercial. I'm going to use a faster, kind of, I think, a little more elegant way of editing a piece together. It's called Storyboard Editing, and I'll kind of show you how that works. It allows me to really focus on the sequence of the pieces and the music and the beats of the music, at the same time automating the editing process so it speeds me up quite a bit. So let me start by bringing over my audio piece, hit period, and now I'll put that piece down there. Now I can see right now that this piece of music is 33 seconds and 16 frames. So I can either go back to the beginning, and that's probably where I want to take off that 3 seconds and 16 frames. So now I can back arrow backwards until I'm at 16 frames. So right there, I can take off that amount of music, and then I'm going to have to put a fade at the beginning of this. So I'm going to hold down Command and put in keyframes and drop this down so the music will come up slowly. But now if you look, my time is exactly 30 seconds, and that's exactly what I want to edit. So now my music's in place. I can kind of look at it and listen to it for a minute. You know, I can hear it starts over this long tone, and that leads into some beats. Da 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 da, and then another long pause, and then bop, 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 some real fast beats where we cut into some quicker editing and start editing on that snare drum beat, and kind of get the music and the editing flowing, playing off the music. Now we don't want to match the music 100% of the time, but it's not a bad idea to get it aligned quite a bit. Okay, so now let's look at our clips. We already saw this, the logo, and then here's our other material. I'm going to hit the tilde key, which is the little squiggly key above the tab key, and it immediately brings up what like a storyboard. And so what this means, what storyboard editing means, is I'm going to edit this based on what's going to come up in what sequence. So I can go ahead and sequence this saying, well, I probably want to start with the outside of the restaurant. So here's the outside of the restaurant, so I can bring this up to the front. And then probably once I come into the restaurant, I don't want the cook yet. I want that to come later. I probably want some of the sense of the restaurant. So this scene we enter in the restaurant, and then see we have a guy back here, and we have someone back here. Here we come out from behind a wall. So let me go ahead and bring this one up. You can kind of see the motion, and you can see where, okay, so there we are, and maybe that's where I want the endpoint to be. So I can actually put an endpoint here, and I can also come over here and see when the motion starts with this clip right about there, put an endpoint on that one. So I can put endpoints or in and out points if I want. I'm actually going to do the editing with markers later on, so I mainly want to just mark endpoints. And I don't want to go to food yet. I'm going to stick with the interiors. So this comes out from behind there, and I think this continues that motion. So I'm going to bring this over here, that clip with the metal, and then we can cut up here. And then there's a scene where here we have someone here. Now we have a bar scene where someone walks out from behind. Where's our bar scene? So here's a bar scene here, and then bar stools here. Kind of figure out what we want in terms of the bar. I'll go ahead and put this one in next. And then maybe that's enough, and then we want to go to drinks because we don't want to go to food yet. So there's a whole selection of drinks. I did have you categorize these last time, so you can see that little gray bar as I move these along. Now I could start my endpoint right about there on this clip. Again, and I'll put that up with drinks. Here's another interesting drink where it comes out from behind the drink. This kind of drink to transition. It's a coconut thing. This one is similar one coming out from behind the color. So, I could keep looking for combos. Oh, here's one where the guy walks out. I want to put that one coming out of this one, perhaps. So these two will hook together, perhaps, where motion will happen and then it'll continue over here. I'm going to go ahead and put an endpoint right before he appears on this clip. So I hit I, it makes an endpoint. You can see the gray and then the blue. Blue marks what is selected. Okay, so we're going to go down here, and now I'm going to go ahead and pile up a bunch of food. Here's a endpoint there. So that's food. Now maybe here I want to look at the kitchen for a minute, or maybe this flame. The flame's pretty dramatic, so I might stick that in because he's tossing a wok. And I might actually go all the way to the very beginning of that because it starts off really good. So I'm going to not put an endpoint on that. Go from there to the wide shot to him pulling across. He goes across, I think, at some point in this. I'll put an endpoint there. And then back into some interesting, here's another steak he can produce. You got to kind of grab it and drop those gray lines up there. So maybe that's enough. Maybe I want the bar. Here's another drink. So if I want to insert another drink, I can insert the drinks. Now this part over here will be when the drum is hitting. And so then maybe I'll want to come back and revisit this big plate here out towards the end. This piece here, we zoom around this carved peacock. I might want to put this one here instead of this one. So I can just take it down here. Ones I don't want to use, I put down at the end for now. So what I've done is I've organized them from the beginning to the end, and then I'll put the tie logo at the end. Now, how do I put those in that I've organized them in there? Hit the tilde key again, and I come down to the music. And if you see, if I have this selected here and I hit the letter M, it puts a marker up here, right? And that marker will allow me to edit based off the location of that marker right at the beginning. You want a marker at the beginning of your clip because that's where your first piece will come in. There's the marker. And then I'm going to, play it and play it out. I can play it out for like several seconds. This whole scene, like 4 seconds right here, is where the panning across the entrance to the restaurant. So maybe we'll take that all the way out here to where the first hit is, and then we'll put another marker, and we'll make sure, oops, that was a period, M for marker. Oh, I'm editing my marker. If you hit M twice, you can edit the marker, but we don't really need to do that. I'm just putting markers. And now I want to listen for beats. So you see those beats, I was missing them, so I'm going to catch that one. I'm actually going to move this marker earlier, so I can move them earlier. And I'm going to start it playing, and I'm just going to hit M's, the letter M on the beat. What I just did there is I hit multiple beats at once, and now as I play it again, so I was trying to mimic this, and what I'll do is I'll zoom in just a minute and match those up more accurately. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and play it, and I'll hit the M on the snare drum. So now I'm just hitting that snare drum. See those markers popping up? So now I have the whole piece edited out. I can actually count the number of gaps I have to see how many clips I need. And what I do want to do before I go any further is I want to zoom in here. So I can look and see there's a beat right here. So I'm going to move this marker over there. And I'm going to take my arrow, and there's another beat right there. So I'm going to see I didn't quite hit those beats exactly. So that's fine. There's another beat right there. I'm kind of right in between it. Move that marker over. There's one there. See, what I'm doing is I'm looking for the peaks in the sound piece. Option plus will enlarge them so I kind of see them. See the peaks? Those are the drum beats in that dun dun da da da. So I'm going to go over, and here's another one. So I'll just hit the letter M, and I'll hit the letter M again. and I hit the letter M again, and then it's going to start hitting these downbeats. And then this beat is on this beat. Here's this one there. And so let's see if I'm going to zoom back, option or minus. So these points are just a little early. So now I can actually look at this. There's the beat right there. So I'm going to move that over. Yep. And this one's right here. It's right here. I'm pretty close to them. Anyway, so you can go through and line these up so they're right on the beats. We can also do this editing later. The point is, now that I backslash this, now I put markers in here for this whole piece, and I can go back over to my selected sequence of images here, hit the tilde key, and if I select the first one, and then my last one will be somewhere, well, I'll go down to here. Okay, so I'm kind of pulling this together. And so I'm going to start with this image. This one's going to lay the longest. So I'm going to go back. Actually, I'm going to put endpoint all the way over here because I want more of that piece. I now have 7 seconds in this piece, and that's good. That's plenty. I think I only had 6 seconds of the piece. So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to pick down to about here. And so what I just did is I just picked these in sequence. And so now I can hit the tilde key again. They'll be hidden, but they're all selected. And then go down to this button right here, which is Animate Sequence. Now I want to come back and put my playhead at the beginning, and I'm going to utilize these keyframes to edit this piece. So I'm going to go down here to Animate to Sequence, click that dialog, and you can see this dialog comes up. And selection order is the option I did. I can also sort them somehow, but I haven't in selection order. That's because I selected them in a specific order. And you remember I put the exterior first, then the interiors, then the drinks, then the food. I'm going to put them in sequentially, use an overwrite mode. Clip overlaps 30 frames. I am not going to overlap these, so I'm going to actually 0. So the overlap would be if I want to put transitions in there. I don't want any transitions because I can put those in later. And I want to just, I'm not going to put them in sequentially, but I'm going to put them in on unnumbered markers. Very important step because that is going to use these green markers we put in down here and insert those all in. About that many clips. Okay, so now I'm ready to insert again. Let me hit the tilde key. Now the key part there is I need to turn off the audio and lock this, so I'm not putting in audio. And I'm going to go back here to the home key, so I'm ready to insert. And I'm going to put it along these markers, and I'm going to hit this button, which is Animate to Sequence. And once again, unnumbered markers is the key one to pick on. I am not going to have the clips overlap at all because I want them sharp edge cuts. In my selection order, and then I'm going to ignore audio, so that way I won't bring the audio over. So I'm going to go OK. And now what this did, if you can look at it, it matched the edit points that I cut. So all those cuts happened exactly on all this piece. Now let's watch this for a minute. Here's the music starting up. The piece is moving. See, that one picks up the movement. Now I'm going to roll that one so the movement matches. See how it's with the music? See that? Now it's cutting right on the beats. Now I have to adjust with where some of these align. Like right there, I don't want that shot of the table. So that's easy enough. If we go to the table, I can use the slip or slide tool, which is the Y, will allow me to slide that content forward or back, and so I can get that piece in there that I want to have. So there we go. I want to have it come down and end up right there, right? So that the piece starts down and comes up. Maybe further back. Although I like that piece right there. So now I just moved that. So here at the end you have this piece. Now this one before we want to move it too. So because I didn't put endpoints on some of these, so we can just move that endpoint. So you kind of get this pullback action. Maybe start before the glass, and then the glass fully in the frame. So now this one will load. So I can go around, but the overall cutting worked really well because look at these beats. See how the da, 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 I was able to do these real quick cuts. Now I could do this by hand, but this would take me, an hour, and I just did that in like 5 minutes. So I do have to adjust it like all the way through. I want to look at this and go, okay, so that moves. I like that. Now this one's not moving, so I want to slip this so that it lines up or moves, and I can see it starts moving there. Right, so now both halves are moving. So now when I go back and play it, that's moving, and now the next one is moving the opposite direction. The guy walks in, and then we see the guy back there. The table starts moving. I'm going to move this other one a little earlier, this one right here, because I want them both moving. There we go. Now they're both moving. See how I rolled this over, so now motion is happening on both ends of that cut. So now this is where the slip and slide tool we talked about last week becomes so important, because now all I have to do is finesse this. I can bring the logo over the top of this last one here if I want, and bring it down here and shrink back. I can I have to go back to the move tool, or letter V. And now I can shrink this down, and because I want to stay within that 30 seconds, and I can simply zoom into this and Command plus to enlarge that so I can see this, and I can just fade this background down so that now the nori will come up. So, and of course I can fade in and all those kind of things. So, and look, we're a little bit, if I look at this, I actually came up with one extra clip, a little bit short, so I can just stretch this out to make the exact 30 seconds with the end of my clip, / key, and now I have my whole piece edited. I want you to try out this storyboard editing. We're going to use it again next week for the music video. Storyboard is a great way to lay down B-roll or secondary footage, where you kind of use your intuition and this wonderful feature of being able to see all this stuff in Storyboard, and I can actually enlarge them bigger, and I can move on them and edit, choose in and out points if I want. I can do a ton of control right here, and I love this form of editing, particularly for B-roll or this kind of footage where I'm not cutting to a line, to something someone's saying, but I'm more cutting to the visual. So this is, for me, a very visual way of editing, and it makes you a stronger, better editor.